What's up, everybody? This is Rob Wilds.
And this is Chris Casanova.
And hey, if you're enjoying WrestleShoot, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, man. You don't got to smash it. Just press it.
We can't do this without you.
That's right. So please join the WrestleShoot family by clicking that like and subscribe. WrestleShoot Radio coming at you. Hosted by Rob Wilds and Chris Casanova. Between the two of us, we've got 40 freaking years of experience in this business, and we're coming to shove it right in your ear holes. You can listen to our witty banter, our mindless arguing, and our legitimate viewpoints. We're going to have some buddies of ours stop through here and give their mindless viewpoints as well. So stick with us, let's go for a ride. We know how to do it, and we do it real well. Oh yeah, here we go. The first episode of WrestleShoot Radio. I'm your host, Rob Wilds, and I'm bringing you on my co-host, Chris Casanova. What's up, brother?
What's up, everybody? Looking forward to this show.
Hell yeah, here we are, launching off the very first one. God, you know, this is not the first WrestleShoot.
Nope.
I guess we should get into that a little bit right off the bat here and, give credit where credit is due. WrestleShoot was actually started like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. I would say at least 2000, 2001.
By a guy named Michael Porter. Michael Porter was a WWF ring announcer for a long time for the West Coast areas. And he was our ring announcer for our promotion, and he was just without a doubt the best damn ring announcer that I've ever had the pleasure of working with.
Oh, hands down. I mean, absolutely.
Everybody who met that guy loved him. He's a lovable little teddy bear.
Well, yeah, he told great stories. I mean, he was funny. He did comedy. And, again, a hell of an announcer. The best in my eyes. I mean, I've been around.
So what happened was, back 20 years ago, up in Marysville, California, this little AM radio station got it in their head that they wanted to have a pro wrestling radio program. So they reached out to Michael Porter. Now, Porter was just all around a wonderful guy, and he was gracious. He was grateful. He showed everybody equal respect. I mean, he could show Johnny Nobody, who's doing his first show, the same respect that he gives the Honky Tonk Man and Marty Jannetty.
Oh, yeah. Can tell the difference.
Just a great guy. Anyway, so he starts off this AM radio pro wrestling show with a friend of mine, a friend of ours, Rick Rockwell. And they did a good little radio show. And after it was around for, 6 months, after I had my first meeting with Porter, which is a fantastic story, but maybe for another day, he asked me to come do his show. So I show up, and I was really excited to do it, and it went really, really, really well. And apparently, the owner of the station told him that last night's numbers were the best you've had so far. I don't know what you're doing, but, keep doing it. So a week later, he asked me to come back up and get on WrestleShoot again. And I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah. So I went up there and I did it again. Had a great time. Next thing I know, he's asking me to come be the third host of WrestleShoot. So it was Michael Porter, Rick Rockwell, and Rob Wilds. And I was promoting it everywhere as the best three-way dance on the radio. So I don't know what happened with Rockwell. I think he just had too much going on because he was opening a wrestling school with the Tonga Kid.
Yeah.
And he just vanished. Just poof, gone. And I'm like, no,
yeah.
Rick, we're doing this threesome thing, man. It's great. This three-way dance. It's fantastic. He's like, no, I got this going on. And he was just gone. So it was just me and Porter for another year. And the show was doing so well that they cranked up, when we went on, they cranked up their antenna all the way to the maximum level so it could broadcast farther. So from Marysville, Yuba City to Sacramento was like 60 miles, and it broadcasted to the end of Sacramento. So it's about 100 miles each direction.
Wow.
And then, the radio station ended up selling. So they weren't wrestling fans, so they put it on the shelf, and that was pretty much that. And we kept working with Porter, forever. As long as we had UWA going, we had Porter there as our ring announcer. Then we opened up a wrestling school in Sacramento, and we did WrestleShoot in a different format. We did it for public access TV, right? Set up that table in the ring. We put the belts on the table, and and it was cool because we did it for free, so the neighborhood kids could come in, watch a few matches, watch us tape WrestleShoot for like an hour, and then watch a couple more matches, and then that was it. And it was free for them once a week. And then, of course, we just decided eventually that the market is oversaturated with wrestling schools, and we closed that up. And then WrestleShoot, of course, fell to the wayside again.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Texas, and Porter moved to L.A., I think.
Yeah, L.A.
And he started doing, Porter was such a trendsetter, because then he started doing a podcast about wrestling, and this is way back before there were wrestling podcasts, really. And then, of course, he passed away. So WrestleShoot has been sitting vacant and hanging for a good 15 years. And, I loved Porter. Porter was like family. Yeah,
he was great. And I'm honored to be on this show. I know I called in a few times. I've been on WrestleShoot a lot, as a guest. But as far as being, the co-host of the show, I'm looking forward to it. And I think I'm going to love this. And we could talk about pretty much anything and like no holds barred, say what we want. Well, I guess we don't talk about politics, but that's pretty much the only thing we don't need to talk about.
Yeah,
but
and I think that just like the Smells Like Hope podcast, the number one rule here is
don't pull any punches.
That's right.
Wait, what? I didn't hear that.
Don't pull any punches.
Okay, gotcha. So make sure I heard that right.
That's all right. Homer told you. You heard it. Now you know.
Okay, let's make sure. Okay.
And then,
so
and out of respect for Porter, I didn't ever try to pick up the reins on WrestleShoot again. But I think he would have been very happy to hear that I wanted to do it again, and I think he would have been very happy to hear that you're doing it with me.
Yeah, I had nothing but respect for Porter, and it just as an individual, as his love for wrestling, just everything about it. He was great. I used to hear his stories, and they were all very interesting. Like one of the few times I met him in the beginning, he would tell some stories, and a lot of times you see people and they tell a story like, "Oh my gosh, like stop talking," but
I know, right? You're like, yuck.
Yeah, I'm like, no, keep talking. Like this is getting interesting. Like I'm like into it, like watching a movie almost. Eating my popcorn, listening. I'm like, holy moly. But I just miss these stories.
I used to tell him, Grandpa, tell me a story. He got a kick out of that.
Yeah. But you can still look up Michael Porter. He's on. I know his page is still up on Facebook. And
really?
It is. Yeah, no, it is. And he's still one of my friends on there. But look him up. He's got pictures on there. He's got videos. Just different types of stuff. If you don't know who Michael Porter is, especially for the younger generation, look him up. He's a great person, and I think anybody would really appreciate his work.
And the younger generation is really missing out. They never had the opportunity to see how he would set up the match and how he would make the announcements. And when Porter's light burned out, this world just became a much darker place.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. But I'm looking forward to the show, and then we got some really good stuff to talk about today. Well, Rob, tell them a little background about yourself, and then we kind of talked a little bit WrestleShoot. But give a quick little background about yourself. How you came up in the business, real quick, and
what? Me? I hate talking about myself.
No, really? Come on.
My nose just grew.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, I come from the great Mr. Paul DeMarco. And I took my wrestling career really seriously from the day I started. Really seriously. So I've wrestled, Jesus, all over the West Coast. I wrestled back east. And, I always wanted to be a tag team wrestler growing up. I always watched the guys, and we'll get into one of those guys later on, but, all of the Hearts and the Rockers and Demolition and the Freebirds and the Bushwhackers, even back when they were the Sheep Herders and the Von Erichs, and the tag team always moved me. But it seems that finding a good tag team is a very difficult thing, and finding a good tag team partner is even harder. It's hard to really click with somebody and know what they're going to do as they're doing. You already know what each other is thinking.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I came up right around the death of tag teams, when they just started fading off. And the tag teams you had, they weren't really a team, they just wrestled together. But then they went their own
two
ways.
Single guys thrown together. Yeah.
Well, not even that. Even the young Stallions, right? They weren't friends. They did the show, and then poof, they went off different directions after the show. They traveled separately. They stayed at different hotels. Different hotels altogether.
Sure.
And then you got the Rockers, who didn't do that, who rode in the same car, stayed in the same hotels right next to each other, were together all the time, and that's why they were such a damn good tag team.
Sure.
Michaels and Jannetty came around in an era where high-flying tag teams weren't really accepted, right? But they were accepted.
Yeah.
So I wrestled singles for a very long time. I did a few tag teams here and there with a few guys here and there, but of course it never really worked out, which is fine. It's the cards that I was dealt. Screw it. But then, of course, I met my tag team partner in Sacramento at what was that? The Colonial Theater is where I first met you.
Yeah, it was the Colonial Theater up in Sacramento for SPW show.
SPW, that's right. You were in the back doing the rubber band gimmicks, working your biceps up.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Right.
I was working a singles match there.
I'd actually been trying to get myself booked to work against you forever. Just nobody would ever go with it. Then I started saying, well, let's just tag team us, back when you were doing Psycho Ward and I was doing the Stalker.
Yeah, exactly.
And some of these clown-ass promoters be like, well, we're not going to tag team you, but we'll book you guys against each other. Yeah, you want to do a heel versus a heel? Who's going to give a damn about heel? Nobody, that's who. So, we're not Shawn Michaels or Rick Martel. This ain't going to work, dude.
Yeah. Only that match worked for that. That was it.
Yeah.
That probably ever works, but...
And the amount of building they had to do, and the stipulations that we're both pretty and don't hit in the face. The amount of work they had to do to make anybody give a single damn about heel match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It takes work, but... we never really started teaming, though, until I think we kind of got you got UWA going. I wasn't a partner yet, but you got UWA going, and we started doing some tag team, and, of course, the famous, Jimmy Snuka and Tonga Kid.
That was the birth of it all. That was the birth of the Apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
It was me, and Ridiculous Mike Rain and Rick Michaels doing the Apocalypse. We were pretty much, and I don't think we ever called ourselves the Four Horsemen of the Indies, but lots of people did.
Yeah, exactly. And
that was pretty wild to me to hear that. Oh, you guys are the Four Horsemen of the Independence, the Apocalypse. This is great. And they just loved to hate us. Oh, man.
Well, and that was our first time ever. We actually worked a few singles matches, or tag matches against each other, and some singles matches. We did some hardcore stuff because we eventually went on to different gimmicks. But that first time we tag teamed, it just flowed natural, I think.
Yeah, it was
easy. I think easy. And I think our styles are somewhat similar, but they're also different as well. But I think our training style was definitely roughly the same as far as, the old school.
I don't know. I would consider you trained in a more English traditional, and I was straight catch as catch can.
Well, I'm talking about our styles of wrestling, we had to learn the hard way.
Sure.
We had to get we had to get our asses kicked, when we first started, and
only
as
to
far
become ass kickers.
exactly, yeah. So we had that same mentality, and as far as psychology, we definitely understood the psychology of things, and so we got that. But yeah, I think that's why we're the same in a lot of ways, but in some the other ways, like our styles were definitely different.
In fact,
As far as
because you were late, obviously, on the Tonga Kid show, because you had to drive 3 freaking hours to get to the show when we wrestled Snuka and Tonga. But I remember, Snuka in the back, just because me and Jimmy had already known each other, already been around the block together. So he goes, what's up with this other guy? How's he going to be? And Tonga Kid just perked right up and goes, oh, Casanova? Oh, no, these two are going to be great together. I already know that. These two are going to flow. He's like, oh, lovely, brother. I was like, oh, well, thanks for the vote of confidence here, Sam. I think that we're going to do pretty okay together. He goes, nah, man, you guys should have been teaming a long time ago. And, oh, sweet.
Yeah.
And then, became a promoter, kept wrestling, did TV personality, have been a radio personality, and now here I sit, at the age of getting ready.
What?
Oh, I said my age. I'm sitting here at the age of.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. So I'll make sure I heard that right. All right.
And getting ready to launch into another phase of career. We're here doing WrestleShoot Radio, the reincarnation of it, and then we're going to be going on the road to the Conquistadors.
Yep.
Which I love that idea, man, because, back when we were coming up, the old guys would show up and they would put us over.
Yep.
They would make us look real good and they would get us launched the right way. And that's what the old guys nowadays need to be doing. And they're really not. So
no,
we're gonna pick up with that tradition. We're gonna launch the Conquistadors and we're gonna put everybody over and we're gonna make them look good. Because we're going to be getting paid the same whether we win or lose. So there's no ego in it for us, like there never has been. Who cares about who wins or loses? It's how good was your match.
Yeah, exactly.
And how responsible are you with your place on the card during the match? Are you going to be a curtain jerker trying to outshine the main event? If so, you should be taken outside and quartered.
Well, I think we'll bring that old school mentality back. And I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know we've been on the ring for a couple of years, but I'm looking forward to getting back in and doing this Conquistador thing. And it's going to be very, very exciting.
Not to mark out too much over us, but the great thing about these new kids working us is we came up working a lot of the retired WWF names. We worked a lot of them. And we learned a lot from them that we're going to pass on some of that knowledge to these young kids. So we've been out for a few years, but with the exception of just getting the cardio back up and maybe knocking a little bit of ring rust off, I don't think we're going to miss a beat.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
All right, so there's a...
Stay tuned for that. We're going to talk more about that, I'm sure, on our other shows. Will be way more updates.
Oh, hell yeah.
Coming up. Well, I know, I'm sure our listeners know, but I do have to bring up some sad news. A couple days ago, sure everybody knew about Road Warrior Animal passing away at the age of 60 from a heart attack. Sad day.
Really,
very sad day. Yeah, I grew up watching him as a little kid. Him and Hawk, the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom.
Animal and Hawk dying both. Just like you hit me as hard as Owen Hart and Randy. It sucks when that happens. It sucks when the young brothers go entirely too young.
So, that's very sad. Rower at age of 60, heart attack. It's just unfortunate.
They were so cool. Really solid dudes, man. You know that I booked them, some years ago, quite a while ago.
I remember that. I was supposed to work that show, and I had
supposed to work me that show.
Yeah, and I had a prior engagement, and unfortunately, I couldn't go, and I was like, but it's.
So I ended up going out there that night, letting Payback crowbar the bejesus out of me. Thanks a lot, pal. That was actually it was a good match to pay back. But
Yeah.
Well, I digress. We booked them, and I was, growing up watching these guys, they were just out there obliterating these enhancement talents, the AKA jobbers, just brutalizing these guys. And it was obvious to the fans at home, like, this is more than they need to do. They are just wiping these kids' asses all over the mat. And so I was very nervous about who exactly was going to show up at the venue, these guys. And they showed up with their face paint already on. And they came in, they didn't stop outside. They didn't go out and meet and greet fans. They just got right inside just to check in, tell us that we're there. Then they went outside and started saying hello to people. And we didn't ask them to do that. They just did. So this guy, Cooley, you remember Cooley that I was promoting that show with?
Yeah, Jim Cooley. Mm-hmm.
Jim fucking Cooley. Anyway, that could be all. Man, we could do a whole episode on what a douchebag he is.
Yeah. I just poured a glass of whiskey while you're talking, but I think I need a little beverage,
So he set up, because the show was at a skating rink, so we had to take some black mesh and cordon off a locker room area, which ended up actually looking pretty okay. But then he took and he cordoned off another private section for Hawk and Animal.
Oh.
And it was as big as the room that he cordoned off for all the rest of the boys. So we get in there and Animal looks back behind the curtain and goes, "What's up with this?" And I went, "Apparently that's your dressing room." And he goes, "What?" "Oh, we get dressed with the boys." And I was like, "Well, he's going to insist you go back there." So they went back there and they slipped on their tights and they were immediately bored and came back out and hung out with the boys.
Wow.
Which was awesome. Like a private dressing room. We didn't ask for that.
Yeah. They could have sat in their private little locker room, but they came out and sat with the boys. That's awesome.
And now here's how awesome Hawk was, since we're talking about him. He said, I had Rude Boy from ICP, from the ICP clique anyway, booked on that show. And he's just some hardcore guy. Like, he can't wrestle his way out of his sack, but he puts on entertaining bloodbath matches.
Sure.
And we had him booked with Doug Damien. And for some reason, Doug had it built in his head just that Rude Boy is a huge star. Rude Boy's a big name. And he was terrified to work the guy. He was so nervous he looked like he was going to throw up in the back. He was so green in the gills.
But Doug's one of your best friends. I mean, this is why this is so important to the story. I mean, that's true. That's a good addition. But
Mike, I got to stop using their real names. Hawk says, "What's wrong with your boy there?" So I told him. And he goes, let me talk to him. And he just walked over and sat down next to Doug and gave him this 10, 15-minute pep talk. And it worked. I mean, he was like, okay, I feel good about this. All right. He went out there and he actually had a great match with Rude Boy, which I was very concerned about that. Rudy was just going to be all about, I'm going to hit Doug with everything that I could find. But he wasn't like that at all. He just, let's do it. And it was fantastic. They tore apart the venue, the chairs anyway, around the ring. We had to send security out, stop the show to set the show back up. And then, one more quick anecdote, then we can move on. But
I'm interested, man.
When they're getting ready, because they weren't using the LOD music from TV. They were using Back in Black for their entrance music.
Oh, okay.
So
wow.
They're standing back by the curtain, get ready, hear their name, and their name got called, and I'm standing next to Hawk with a big old Mark smile on my face, holding the microphone. I said, "Come on, do it. Do it." And he said, "Do what?" I said, "Come on, you know what. Do it." So he real gingerly reached out and gently took the microphone, and they both kind of smiled at me. Then he did his, "Yeah, what a rush." And the crowd
love it.
Went bananas because they were all waiting to hear that. And they're getting ready to walk out, and Animal patted me on the back, said, "You're a good kid. We're having fun with you guys tonight." And they went out there, and they didn't do your classic, because you got a lot of these big names who were just doing boring, quick matches. And they didn't do that at all. They went out there with the 8-Ball Posse, the Hustler, and That's Louis Cantrell and then Big Money Bill Monroe. And they worked a 20-minute, really, really good TV quality match.
Nice.
So, when Mike died, Hawk died, and they brought in Heidenreich, to be the new Hawk. And I get that, Animal was just, needing to pay his bills, so he went with it. And,
sure.
But when it failed, I was really happy that it failed. I would much rather see Animal doing singles matches than seeing him ever tag team with anybody again, especially trying to don the Hawk gimmick.
Yeah.
And now they're, both gone.
Yeah. And they'll continue up there. They'll
That's true.
Reunite the wrestling gods, and it'll be Road Warriors, LOD, or
they're up there
whatever name you like.
Up there with the other Minnesota boys, with Rick Rude and Kurt Hennig, and they're all partying.
Yeah, exactly. I'll be honest, I like the Road Warrior name better. Legion of Doom's great, but I love the Road Warriors. That's just my favorite name.
Right.
I'm calling them the Road Warriors.
Okay.
But yeah. Well, rest in peace, Animal. The wrestling world definitely got a little darker, and you will be missed.
Indeed.
By everyone.
Indeed. Well, hey there, Mr. Casanova. Before we move on any further, let me go ahead and get a read out of the way, help pay the bills.
Okay.
So, are you in the market for a new home in Austin, San Antonio, San Marcos, the surrounding areas? Have you had bad experiences with realtors in the past who were only doing just enough work to get that commission? Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't your realtor supposed to be looking out for your best interest? Isn't he supposed to be getting you the best possible deal? Well, listen up. Chris Ward is that realtor. I speak from personal experience. That dude will fight to get you into your dream home in your budget. He'll always be 100% real with you, and he always gets you the answers to those tough questions that goes into buying a home for your first time or your second or third home. And it won't cost you anything just to give him a call, have a conversation, get the ball rolling for you. As sellers, he'll work just as hard for you. He'll protect you from those predatory lowball buyers and scam artists and general dirtbags that everybody hates. So give him a call. He's at 512-618-5110, or you can hit him up on the internet, chriswardrealestate.net. Again, that's 512-618-5110, chriswardrealestate.net. You will thank me for it. All right.
Awesome.
Paying some bills, brother.
Paying the bills. Well, it was, I think our next topic we should definitely talk about is kind of somewhat current. And I'm not going to lie, like, I have been watching wrestling for a while, but my goal is going forward, I'm going to start watching some current wrestling. I catch it off and on, like a match here and there. But, it seems like what I know is a lot of these WWE guys are they're leaving and they're going to AEW, even TNA, even Ring of Honor. And
really, the trend seems to be AEW is where they're going.
AEW. I've been kind of keeping up with them a little bit, and they're definitely trying some new and cool things, some different things. They got some of the old schoolers there. They got Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Jake the Snake's there. They're doing some managing advisor roles. They're I know this whole COVID thing has thrown everybody off, but they're doing some pretty cool stuff. They're trying to mix some new school, some old school, a lot of independent wrestlers that you really haven't heard of. Some WWE stars are coming over there. So they're doing a mixture of things, and I kind of like where they're going.
The WWE guys seem to be jumping ship like a lot. Not like, it's almost like how everybody was bailing WWE for WCW back in the day. It's like that's happening again now with AEW.
It's got to be the schedule. I'm thinking it has to be the crazy WWE schedule that it's demanding. I mean, you do a lot.
Well,
I think
and AEW has a lot of backing. They got a big bankroll to play with.
Well, yeah, I mean, They got a lot of money behind him. Shahid Khan from the Jackson Jaguars, the owner. I mean, he's backing it. I mean, he's the primary investor in this, and they got a lot of other companies as well. But they got a lot of money behind this, and they got Cody Rhodes is running things. Kenny Omega, Brandy Rhodes. I mean, they got a pretty good staff there as far as running things. I think they kind of see the new and old, and they're trying to put it together. And
I think them piggybacking their launch with Chris Jericho.
What's that?
I think them piggybacking the launch with Chris Jericho was just epic.
Yeah, that was smart. I don't think he's doing. I think he's more an advisor, really, Chris Jericho. But yeah, I think they're gonna go places. AEW. I see them being around for a while. If they keep going, they're doing a lot more different things than WWE's doing, in my opinion.
You saying Chris Jericho is an advisor? I've heard that Jake and Arn and Tully are all doing advisory roles there as well, and that's just such a wealth of knowledge, just this incredible load of know-how that you have access to.
What is that, over 150 years of experience, maybe? I don't know, maybe more.
In just one guy.
Yeah, right? You got
Jake and Arn. That's all you need. Everybody else is just icing on that cake. But to me, Jake and Arn are the brains that are really helping Cody shape what they're trying to make happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because who's better at psychology than Jake the Snake or Arn Anderson? Nobody.
I'm thinking. My thinking cap's on. I can't think of anyone.
Yeah, thinking cap.
Yeah, I got two of them on right now. I'm really trying to think. I mean, I'm maybe Flair, maybe.
Okay. And Hogan.
Yeah, Hogan. I mean, I guess we can kind of throw names in here, but let's just Jake the Snake definitely top 5. Arn definitely top 5.
Sure.
I would definitely put them in that category. But I've been reading, and I guess a few of the WWE stars are looking to possibly make the move to AEW in 2021.
Are they putting names out?
I heard Kevin Owens may be looking to
get out of here.
That's what they keep talking about. And
Kevin Owens is the man. That guy's great.
Yeah, if they lose him, that's big.
Yeah, it's like losing what's his name? Bryant?
Yeah. Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, the Fiend. That guy's real solid.
Jeff Hardy will be possibly making the move to join his brother over there.
Yeah, that's not really much of a surprise.
It's still Jeff Hardy. I mean, I know he's had a lot of trouble. He's had a trouble past, but
it's not a surprise he wants to go be with Matt.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one of your favorites.
Go ahead.
What's that?
One of my favorites, who?
Mickie James.
Oh, Mickie James. Yes, I will watch it just to see her.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Jesus, I'm telling you, man. I'm not one of those dudes who has constantly had a hard on for their divas. There's been 3. There was, of course, Ivory. Oh, Ivory.
Okay, I remember that.
Oh God. And then,
how did you contain yourself? By the way, I'm sorry to cut you off. How did you contain yourself when we brought her down for the signings? We used to bring a lot of wrestlers down for signings, and we brought her down. I mean, how did you? Wow. Well, don't get me wrong.
You notice I didn't spend a whole lot of time around her during that signing because I knew something stupid was going to come out my mouth.
Sure. Right.
And she was flirting like hell with you. I'll tell you that much.
I know. Was that crazy?
It was great. I was like, seal the deal. Do it. Tell me how it was. Oh, yeah. And then, of course, there's Paige. I think Paige is just not only just phenomenally pretty, but her skill in the ring, boy, that turned me on.
Yeah, she's.
And then there's the new one. There's Miss James. Oh, daddy.
Yeah. I agree with all those three.
And all three of them both were very physically attractive, but their amazing in-ring talent really turned me on. That turns me on to see a woman, and I don't want to sound sexist, but, I'm not into guys. So to see a woman with that kind of wrestling ability, it just makes me wiggle. Whew. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, good thing you're not in a guy. No, good thing you're not in a guys. That's good. Okay. If you were, I can probably give you a top 3 if you want to do that.
Well, I'm not into guys except you.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, there's always been a bromance going on. I think everybody knows that.
That's right. Everybody says, you guys are so romantic.
Yeah. What of it? Mind your business.
That's right. Don't worry about what we got going on. Worry about what you got going on over there. Just get out of here.
I'm gonna be honest.
That's just the bromance thing. That ties back to what I was saying earlier about these tag teams. Nowadays, and even when we were coming up, we were a tag team. We traveled together. We stayed in the same hotels. We went out to eat. We went out and got drinks. We did it all together. We were like Opie and Anthony of the wrestling world. We just were inseparable for a while.
It was, great memories. I'm sure we can definitely tell some really crazy stories, and I think we will definitely. I think we should hold off on that to our next episode, but I don't want to give away too much.
Well, actually, I'll give away a little something on our next on our next episode. I went ahead and booked Leatherface.
Oh, wow!
Yeah.
Well, tell some of the viewers about Leatherface. That may not.
An American professional wrestler. There was a American Leatherface, and there was a Japanese Leatherface, but I don't remember what his name was. But
okay,
he appeared, and I can't wait to dive into this one. Years ago, he appeared on Viva La Bam, and he brought the Executioner with him, and they had themselves a match against a couple of Bam's guys, and of course they did the job because that's what they were getting paid to do, but they booked themselves a national TV gig, and they had a lot of fun doing it. And we all go back with Leatherface so far. It's just going to be cool. Since I moved to Pennsylvania, I haven't seen that guy in forever. So it's going to be nice to get him on the show and just going over some old times and hearing some of his story, how he came up with Leatherface. It's funny. The actor who plays Leatherface in the movies has a special little pet name for him. He calls him Leatherfake.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So we'll get into that with Leatherface on the next episode.
Yeah, I guess I can give away a little bit more. We were talking about our stories personally. We'll definitely dive into that. But a few other names that we're definitely talking to is Duke the Dumpster Drosy. He's going to be on one of our episodes coming up, and I'm very excited about that.
He's actually going to be on both. He's going to be on WrestleShoot, and he's going to be on Smells Like Hope, talking about his recovery from addiction.
Yeah.
So, I love Duke, and this is why. Duke Drosy is a freaking icon. Everybody knows the Garbage Man Wrestler. He should be running around wearing those icon t-shirts. But he doesn't, I don't know if he doesn't realize how iconic he is, or if he just doesn't show it or act like it at all. He's just so down to earth and awesome. So having Duke on the show is going to be sick.
Well, I'm gonna, honestly, I'm gonna bring that point up to him. We're on. I'm gonna say, everybody knows a garbage can gimmick. Like you're big, man. Like people know you. People don't know you watch wrestling. Oh yeah, that garbage man that used to wrestle. Like they all know him.
And he was in that era where they were trying to do professions, but nobody remembers the Goon, right? Nobody really remembers the Repo Man, and he was Demolition Smash, for Christ's sakes. And they don't really remember that gimmick, but they all remember the Garbage Man.
Didn't they have a plumber too or something?
Yeah, they had the baseball player. that one was so bad.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. So I'm looking forward to that, and I know we're talking to Preston Steele.
No, yeah, Preston.
Who played Doink.
That's right. He's Preston Steele as well as Doink the Clown.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can get an interview from Preston and Doink, huh? Yeah.
I would. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Make it a twofer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this to you yet, but I've been getting Zoltan locked up too, Lord Zoltan, to come on. And that guy's cool because he wrestled Andre, for Christ's sake. So anybody who wrestled Andre the Giant is worth talking to.
The young fans definitely tune into that one because you don't really know Zoltan, but you tune into that episode. I guarantee you're going to know him a little bit more. That will be educational for sure.
Well, we haven't got a ton of time left, but we went over how WrestleShoot was started. We went over my background. Why don't we dump into yours a little bit here before we call it a day?
Sure. Well, I've been in the industry since 1996. I was trained at All Pro Wrestling with Mike Modest and
Miguel Modesto.
And anybody that doesn't really know Mike Modest, he was definitely one of the top indie wrestlers in the early, late 90s or all the way through the 2000s. He wrestled Japan. He was in Beyond the Mat, wrestled Prince Iake on WCW. Just a phenomenal worker. He wrestled.
Beat Iake on WCW. A nobody they'd never seen before came in and beat the Cruiserweight champion.
Exactly. And, a hell of a trainer. I mean, he can wrestle all kinds of styles, lucha, Japan, American. He can do it all. And I learned a lot from him. I mean, he turned me into the wrestler I was, and I definitely have some style like him. But he was old school, hard knocks. I mean, and I came up, worked on the West Coast for a while, did some things on the East Coast, a lot of independent promotions. So yeah, that's a little bit about my background on that.
It's really funny how back in the day, our roads would seem like they were coming together, then they would split off again, then seem like they were coming together, and then blow off again. And I mean, we went out for beers and whatnot, but professionally, it was really hard to come together until you ditched the Psycho Ward, went back to Casanova, and I ditched Stalker and became Wild Thing.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I was exclusive with APW for a while. I mean, I did a lot of shows with them, and finally, it kind of ran its course there. And they at that point, Mike Modest, Donovan Morgan, Tony Jones, I can name a few other workers. They kind of did their own thing, and so I was like, well, maybe it's time to do my own thing. I separated from them and started working a lot more indie shows, and that's kind of where where you and I connected in Sacramento, SPW, and then it all kind of played out from there. We told the story earlier, but yeah.
Every year when Earthquake was doing the Legends gimmicks, I was always like, "Hey, book me with Chris." And no, we got something else for Chris. We got something else for you. And whatever. Why don't you guys ever listen to the talent?
I know promoters sometimes.
Yeah. Not the Earthquake Ferris, just to make sure that's clear.
Right. Earthquake Ferris, AWA.
Right.
Yep. But
good times, good shows, good paydays.
Absolutely. Well, I think that's pretty much it for us.
Yeah, I'd say that's going to just about do it. So next week we're going to come back at you with Leatherface. And then I'm working on getting Preston Steele for the follow-up one. I don't know if we should do Steele or Zoltan next. What do you think?
I think Zoltan would be a good one.
Yeah. All right. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Well, it's really going to break down to their schedules and availability. I mean, those guys, even Zoltan, they're still out there working all over the territories. Wow, that's amazing. What, 40 plus years for him? I'm actually working. Oh God, yeah. I mean, that guy's he's done it all. He's been everywhere. Guy's a phenomenal talent, a hell of a nice guy, a good buddy. And Preston, yeah. I just really liked how Preston I like how he conducts himself in the locker room. Yeah, very professional. Especially when he's out there working as Doink, as that really recognizable character. He's still just cool to everybody. And I think that Duke is going to be landing back homebound in about 3 weeks. So we're going to try and get him as soon as he gets home. And we're going to keep working on getting more profile guys. So stick with us. Thanks for joining us on WrestleShoot. Any last words, Mr. Casanova?
No, have a great weekend, everybody. And I look forward to seeing you again on our show.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys next time. And that's going to do her for another episode of WrestleShoot. From myself and Chris Casanova, take it easy or take it however you can get it.